How do you handicap the presidential race, the two primaries, the two leading candidates? One is in immediate legal peril. The other one apparently has burgeoning legal, if not corruption, scandals going on around him. I mean, we could have two candidates for the presidency in the midst of these massive legal issues. How do you handicap all this?
Yeah, it's hard. Handicap does seem like an appropriate word when talking about President Biden. You talk to politicos in D.C., and this is the state of our politics right now, regardless of how everyone in this room feels about any of the candidates. The Republicans are very worried that their nominee, their likeliest nominee for president, could be convicted of felonies by the time the election happens. And the Democrats are worried that their likely nominee for president might not make it to the general election, right? That's not even, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, and I wish the very best for the president and his health, but he is not always doing very well. So this is the collision course that we're on for a rematch of 2020. A lot of the polling shows that the American people are very, very dim in their view of having this rematch, and yet, you know, here we are. You asked about the primaries, so I think it's a fairly easy answer. Full disclosure, my card's on the table. I've never been a big Trump guy. When he was right, I'd say it. When he was wrong, I'd say it. I try to be intellectually honest. I'm not hiding the ball from you guys. That being said, so I would very much like really almost anyone else in the field to be the nominee other than him, but it is not a lock, but it's getting there, that it will be Donald Trump again. Like, he is up by 30 points. He's up in all the early states. It's not close, you know, so the Trump supporters in the room very happy about that. You know, if he wins the general election, I think a lot of people in this room will be happy about that. If he loses the general, then that's a separate conversation to have, but he is... I've heard arguments that the support is soft, and you look at certain, you know, dig really deep into the polling, people are still making up their minds. That's all well and good. I spoke with Governor Sununu yesterday on my show, and he's getting ready to endorse someone. It sounds like it'd probably be Nikki Haley or Ron DeSantis, I don't know. Something seismic would need to happen for Trump at this point in my mind to lose the nomination. And he's already been indicted 4 times. Like, those seismic events helped him, right? So I'm trying to figure out what actually could hurt him in a Republican primary. I don't know. I think in all likelihood, if a conviction were to happen, it would be after the primaries are either over or well underway. So that's just something for Republican voters to keep in mind. And I think some of the other folks I'm not trying to like dismiss anyone else in the field. I think there's some really quality people there. I just think Trump's the 500-pound gorilla, the former president, and by far the front runner. On the Democratic side, you know, Joe Biden is sort of a stubborn, proud guy, and he hears all the doubters, and he wants to prove them wrong. And so I think he is personally absolutely committed to running again. I know he's announced that he's running again. I don't think the Democrats really have a strong alternative. You hear them all whispering constantly.
I can't believe he's going to make it to the end of the primaries. So talk about that, and then talk about who you think the likely successor could be.
Well, so that's the problem, right? So I talk to Democrats all the time, and they say, we are really worried about Joe. We think he can beat Trump, but we're not so sure. But if it's not Joe, which maybe we could win with someone other than him, and then I say, who?
Yeah, who?
And then all hell breaks loose. Because if you say Kamala Harris, a lot of them will say, well, we can't win with her. But then others will say, how can you say that? She's a woman of color, and the first, so all of their identity politics, fixation stuff has been rolled up into a certain sitting vice president, where I feel like they would have one hell of a time. They might try to throw him overboard. Throwing her overboard would be really tough. And she's already shown that she'll fight dirty whenever there's criticism of her. Her team comes right out saying this is sexism, this is racism. I mean, that is absolutely the play that they'll make. And she does have relatively good numbers among black Democrats and young Democrats. So jettisoning Kamala Harris would be, I think, very tricky for the Democratic Party. Obviously, Gavin Newsom wants to be president. He wakes up every day and looks at himself. I see a movie villain. He sees a president of the United States. I think he would have trouble as a white, straight dude saying, no, sorry, Kamala, it's not your turn, it's my turn. Plus, I mean, his record, California is a disaster. So that's...
You think that debate with him and DeSantis will be good?
I hope so. I mean, DeSantis has already won the debate. DeSantis has won the debate by every single metric of reality. Look at who has left California, look who has gone to Florida, look at the policies those places, look at the unemployment rate, all of it. DeSantis's ideas have won the debate already. I think it's worth having that back and forth, almost like a bizarro world election. You got Trump and Biden over here and these like next generation guys over here. But I think a lot of Democrats would love to set Joe off on the iceberg and say, thank you for your service, goodbye. He doesn't want to go, and they have no unity at all around who would replace him, and they're running out of time is the other key thing. The inertia of an incumbent president running for re-election is really, really hard to stop.
All right, you ready for this? I'm going to put you on the spot.
Uh-oh.
Somebody record this. Make a note on your paper so we can look back. I don't know if years ago on at the end of the Fox News, they used to have presidential roulette. You have $100 of chips. Who do you put your chips on? So who do you put your chips on, for the record, for the Democrat presidential nominee coming out of that convention?
Joe Biden.
100%, $100?
I'd put.
No, you got $100 worth of chips. How you
Okay,
gonna do
I'll put $80 worth of chips on Joe, 20 on the field, and I hope I'm right because I have a bet with my own dad about this.
Okay.
My dad is betting the field. If anyone other than Joe Biden is the nominee, I have to buy him a really nice bottle of wine. And
I
then
put
vice
10
versa.
on Joe and 90 on the field. So we'll
all
see
right.
who's right, all right?
All right.
We'll see who's the real political pundit here. Okay.
What's
Now-
amazing about it, though, to your point, I watch the president all the time, and I say, how on earth can this man run
know,
again?
yeah.
How can he be president for 5 more years? Are you kidding? And a lot of Americans feel the same way, and yet he's the incumbent, and he's running.